Hey, Tim Sykes here with a video lesson roundup of just what was going on today. I'm getting a ton of questions, so it's easier for me just to make a video lesson. I should also mention that when I publish this video, you have 24 hours to take advantage of this sale. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% off on newsletters, DVDs. So useful on Profitly. We're not extending it anymore. I've caught up with most of the email questions related to the sale. Not all of them. I'll respond to the rest of you guys. But I've gotten through enough of them so that, we're done. I've offered this. You're either serious about your education or you're not. So take advantage of it. Seriously, there's so many great deals. And I left a review yesterday on my blog about Quant Trading 101. If you're into programming and math and back testing and coding and Excel, you should be watching this. It's really going to change your mindset. Also, earlier today, I made a video lesson on risk reward on supernovas like DRYS and GLBS. Watch it. It is so freaking useful. I know it's not like a sexy theme, but many of you guys, even if you're okay by, results-wise at the end of your trade, you're not okay with the risks that you take in the meantime. And I really don't like you playing with fire. Eventually, you're going to get burned. So please watch this video lesson from this morning. Here's my one trade today on OPTT. Nothing huge. I was dip buying it. I'll get to BNSO in a second. OPTT is one to watch. It has this solid base in here in the 320s and 330s. And, it has gone supernova in the past. Every single bounce since has been a little weaker. It actually had a pretty decent little press release yesterday with its partnership news, but it just couldn't get the volume. And so, it closed around 350. I was buying it around 340. Nothing huge at all, but the risk reward was solid because it has so much support in here in the 320s and 330s. So this is what I like about my boring trades where, yes, it did not spike as much as I wanted. But at the same time, I did not chase it yesterday when it hit 4. I waited for the dip buy. And I highly encourage you guys to consider dip buying rather than chasing. I'll give you tons of examples. But first, let me congratulate a few of you. Joshua, awesome job on NVCN. 250 shares making $217 profit. NVCN was definitely the play of the day. This has gone full-on supernova. And a lot of people hate on penny stocks. They say you should never trade them. I mean, I don't understand it. I was frankly shocked at how high this went. I greatly underestimated it, and I'm proud of a lot of you guys, even though some of you are being degenerates by chasing this. I'm proud that at least you learned and you saw how to play the hot stock. Antoine, good job while you were eating lunch, making 30% on your money. Here we got Adrian in at 106, out at 237. This is what I love. A lot of people say, Tim, I need thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to trade. Guess what, guys? All you need is a few $100s to open up an account. And while I'm not a fan of Robinhood, you can open up an account with Robinhood. And guess what? Look at this. This guy has a $140 account in one day. He picks the right stock. He has the patience. He holds. He makes $170. So it is possible. I prefer E-Trade and Interactive Brokers. That's just me. But you could start learning and trading for just a few $100s. Jackson, nice job on NVCN less than an hour later, making good money. Keith, $1,500 total profit, left another $3,000 on the table. That's awesome, man. Don't worry about the money that you leave on the table. I've made $4.5 million over the years. I've probably left $10 million on the table, and yet I'm still a multimillionaire. You're going to have that problem too eventually if you stick with it. Jet Cadet made $333 on SGY. Overnight short. I'm actually overnight this right now. So congrats. Good cover right at the lows too, by the way. Good job, man. Buff Nerd took the meat of the move. Made an easy $300. Mike, look at this. He had class and he sold right before the 40-cent spike, but he still made $200 trading from school. I like that. Picasso with a Lux. I love seeing this. Got in with NVCN at 214, made a bowl of cereal, got out at 270, made $230. That's a good damn bowl of cereal. Wesley, same kind of thing. Small account, making good money. Cindy, I love this. Strategy before Timothy Sykes. Hope. Strategy after. Trade scared. NVCN is my first big profit of 540. In at 129, out at 165. This is a damn good trade, Cindy, and I continue to tell you to trade scared. Don't worry about missing out on profits. When you make 26% in a day, that's damn good. September 13th, BNSO. This is another one, made 50 cents a share. Red One, good job. NVCN, made a few $100. Ed made 30%. Congrats. Selvo, good job, made 442. Sam made some good money on NVCN also. Lloyd says, changing my life, Timothy Sykes. Thank you. Plan works. In at 189, out at 203. In at 209, out at 222. Trade by trade, small gains add up. Good job, Lloyd. Jonathan, good job, made $870, and you invested $2,000. Took my slice of the cake, no need to overeat. Very good analogy. I like that you guys are picking up on my weird analogies. Danny Chen is on vacation on the West Coast and made $800 today, and he still has the whole day to enjoy. Tim, your strategy keeps the day job away. Good, I'm glad. Enjoy the time zone, Danny. Dimitri, first trade ever, in at 149, out at 259, profit of 1450. Calm down, Dimitri. Not every trade is going to be like this, but this is freaking awesome. So I just wanted to show you a few students. More and more of you are learning to take the meat of the move. You know, I was wrong. I'll be the first to admit it on NVCN. I really thought it is overdone. That said, I did correctly think that it had some potential. I was buying it in here around 86 cents. So even though I underestimated it, I'm glad that my buy alert put it on the radar, even if it didn't do much on day one or day two. This is the beauty of penny stocks. You don't have to be there right when the breaking news happens. You can actually be there later on. And guess what? Day three, sometimes, not often, but sometimes, a lot of the time it's day two that's the big spike. But day two or day three, sometimes even week one or week two, can be the big spike with penny stock when people start to realize the value of the news. NVCN, right in here, you know, the stock went from 50 cents to 80 cents, and they announced the deal with a $28 billion company. They had more good data, which, you know, the data, I think, frankly, squeezed the short sellers today. But day three turned out to be the big spike day. So this just goes to show you how much time you have if you spot the hot stocks early. And even though, frankly, I was flying yesterday, I apologize. My plane was supposed to have Wi-Fi. But in my watch list, I specifically said at the end of day one, you know, it had all-day resistance right here. From the morning at 97 cents to midday at 97 cents to late day at 97 cents. And I said in the watch list, watch 97 cents. And in case you don't see that, hold up, wait up. Let me check my watch list for a second. I want to show you the watch list because I want to show you that this stuff is time stamped. Some people accuse me like, oh, you're just reviewing it after the fact. No, sometimes I'm ahead of the fact. And even when I did not have Wi-Fi and I couldn't actually make the trade, I specifically said this, heavy resistance 95, 97 area. I'll only rebuy on a breakout of those levels, and any breakout had better be convincing. Well, sure enough, yesterday it did break 97 cents. And you actually had two times to buy it at 97 cents. It went from 97 cents up to 120, back down to 97 cents. This thing moves fast. But once the breakout was confirmed, that was a nice little gainer up to the 130s. And then today was just a home run. So congrats to so many of you. Oh, OPTT is still up 350s after hours. You know, on this one, I still wouldn't chase. The only way to buy this one, because you can't trust these kinds of sketchy stocks, is to dip buy them. And contrary to what some people say, dip buying does work. You know, all day this spent the majority of the day in the 340s and 350s. And if you dip bought it at the low in the 320s or 330-ish, you know, again, it's nothing huge, but dip buying works and it reduces your risk. NVCN, there's really no opportunity to dip buy today. And I would not be dip buying it now. I saw some people trying to dip buy it after it had already spiked up to 330 and they're dip buying it 290, 280. And I warned in the chat room, like, guys, what are you doing? I mean, even though this is a nice spike, you don't want to dip buy after a ridiculous spike like this, okay? I understand with OPTT where I'm dip buying, after this big spike to 4, or if you're dip buying after this big drop to 330. Look, there's obvious dip buying opportunities here, but you don't want to chase a stock like NVCN after it has a run up from 50 cents up to $3. This is best case scenario. And now NVCN is a potential short. Even though it's down $1 a share off its highs, I have a feeling it's going to see the ones again. I hope that it actually spikes. I'm partially making this video because I want you guys prepared for tomorrow. Even though I think this is going down, because I couldn't find shares to short today, I want this to go as high as possible. Because if it goes high, then at least maybe a few shorts can get squeezed, and that'll give me an opportunity to short. I think this is greatly overextended. Even though they have a big contract, you also have to keep things in perspective. And over the past 2 years, I mean, this is way down. This is not so good news here on NVCN. And I think a lot of long-term longs are going to see today's spike, and they're going to take the opportunity to sell tomorrow. But massive volume. A lot of people also say penny stocks are so illiquid. This thing traded 108 million shares today. Okay, and yesterday was trading around 30 million shares. So that's pretty liquid. Even OPTT still trading, 4 million shares yesterday, nearly 1 million shares today. SGY, I think, is a good potential short. You can see here the long-term chart. And frankly, today it bounced a little bit, but it gapped down. They had some negative news at the open. A lot of people are asking me, Tim, they had such negative news. Why did it come back? Well, guess what? Maybe the negative news might have been priced in a little bit. Maybe not everyone saw the negative news. As you saw with NVCN, news is not priced in immediately, okay? Sometimes it takes days, and this is the benefit of penny stocks. You don't necessarily have to get the big spike or the big drop right away, and once more people find out about the news, then oftentimes you'll see the delayed reaction. That exists nowhere else in finance. That is why I like penny stocks, because it's easier. Understand, though, that it's not an exact science. I could not have predicted NVCN to go full-on supernova today, and I'm sorry that some short sellers lost. For me, those of you who know me, I'm not good at shorting morning spikes. And because I know that about myself, I specifically avoided shorting this morning spike. And knowing yourself really helps you. I know a lot of people who were thinking that this morning spike up to the 220s was the end, or even up to the 2s. But because I have trained myself to try to protect myself from my weaknesses, I was not even tempted to short in here at 2 or 220. And in fact, it was actually a nice breakout buy here above 225, 230-ish. Unfortunately, it happened midday. Normally, I do not like buying midday. If this had happened maybe at like 2:30 p.m., I probably would have bought a little bit. I'll tell you the truth. I like breakouts. I don't care if it's late in the pattern. But midday, I'm really scared of fake outs. So I kind of boxed myself out with NVCN today, not wanting to short the morning spike, which turned out to be a good thing, and then not wanting to buy the midday breakout, which turned out to be a bad thing, and then not finding shares to short in here when I wanted to short. So 3 potential plays. This one I would have been wrong on. This one I would have been right on. This one, depending on if I had gotten the borrows and where, I could have made a little money. But I don't care about whether I made the trade or whether I didn't make the trade. I care also more about learning. And that is what you should be thinking about. Even if you can't trade it, if you can't short it, and if you don't have an account open, use every single play to further your education. I want you witnessing it, okay? I was telling my students today, like, watch this like a hawk. After you have this crash here from 280 down to 230-ish, I was watching this bounce. And I was telling my students, I was like, this is like the Titanic, where the big ship is just bobbing in the distance, and Rose and Jack are freezing in the water. And, Jack is telling Rose to never let go, even though Rose is eventually going to, take Leo's hands and throw him back into the water. And she's, going to let go. This is the Titanic bobbing in the water. And it was all a question whether it could break 230. It broke 230 for 1 second, maybe 3 seconds. But it broke 230, and there was not any more downside. And it quickly went from 228 back to the 230s where it held. So you have to be watching this. You don't even see this on the chart. You're like, what the hell are you talking about, Sykes? If you were witnessing it, and my students and I were, you would know that 225, 230 is a key level. That's when the midday breakout happened. So when it could not break below that key level, that took out the possibility that it was going to go to 220, 210, to 190 today. That said, tomorrow I want you guys watching 225, 230 like a hawk. It closed in the 240s, okay? So now you're in this zone between 270 where kind of was like this head and shoulders and it couldn't bounce up past 265. So you're in the zone between 270 and 230. Which way is it going to go? That is the question. Most likely, because it's so overextended, it's going to crack 225, 230. But that's not to say that it won't put up a fight. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go past 260, 270, and maybe even retouch 3. Maybe that's just a little of me hoping that it'll get there so it'll squeeze some shorts and open up some new shorts for people like me. But do not be so confident that it's definitely going to crack 230. Even though it finished low, even though it finished near this key level, guess what? It's still up 75% on the day. And in order for this stock to spike another day, it has to lure in some short sellers. So overnight shorts, congratulations, first of all, on finding shares to short, but don't think that this is a guaranteed win. It's probably going to break below 230, 225. If I had to guess, that is what I would say. I have no position either way. It doesn't matter. I'm hoping actually for a bounce just so that shares will open up, as I said. But in all likelihood, it cracks under 230, under 225, and returns to the ones. I don't know how far down it's going to go, but that is what's most likely going to happen. That said, you also have to keep everything in perspective. It's already down $1 a share off its high. So it's already had a 30% consolidation. So trading is not as simple as you want it to be. Okay, I know a lot of people make a lot about like my 140 character limit tweets or my 500 character trade commentaries, but real trading is understanding all the different indicators, the different ways that it could go up and the different ways that it can go down. Right here, when it was cracking 230, all the indicators pointed to it going down. And yet, what did it do? It held support and bounced. So until that 225, 230 level cracks, I'm not very confident that this is definitely going to tank. This might put up a fight yet again. It's already, kind of stunned me, and I know a lot of other shorts who are stunned. So don't think anything is easy or definite or guaranteed. But it's important that you understand the different angles. On plays like NVCN or plays like OPTT where, you can clearly dip by the panic and make a little money. Dip by this panic, make a little money. Dip by this panic, make a little money. There's nothing huge here, but it seems to work. VNR is a potential short because it's a first down day after already, doubling, but it's an energy play. And as I've hopefully taught you, energy plays are very difficult, especially overnight. I'm short a very small amount of SGY just because it also had some negative news today. And I'm hoping that in addition to it being a first down day, the fact that, guess what? The negative news might be priced in tomorrow as more people realize it. But you never know. So hopefully you keep an open mind to different possibilities. I don't want you ever just getting into a stock long or short and saying, oh, this has to go down. This has to go up. You can be wrong on any single stock. And if you have that mentality, you get protected. I had this one student who wanted to short BNSO today because it looked like it was topping here at 320. And I brought up a chart of a cup and handle. And guess what? This is a perfect cup and handle. And now the handle is very nice. So I'm glad he didn't short at 320. And while 320, 330 could have been the top, it wasn't. It's up to 380 pre-market or after hours, and pre-market tomorrow. It might go up more. It might go to the 4s. So be very careful if you see a pattern that is potentially bullish and then that stock fulfills that pattern. You have to be very, 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 very careful when shorting, especially in this market, because I don't know if you realize, but in the past few weeks, the stock market is hitting all-time highs. So shorting has gotten a little more difficult. So be careful. And for me, I'm a little more long biased right now. I've turned my $12,000 account that I started the year into roughly 100,000 now, trade by trade, making 500 or 1,000 here, sometimes losing 500 or 1,000, but gradually trying to adapt to patterns that work. When I see a potential cup and handle, I'm automatically bullish on it. This one doesn't really have the volume or the news for me to really get aggressive, but I still am aware of the pattern. So please study and prepare. And that brings me back to this sale, which is going to end in 24 hours after I post this. You need to study the past. I have 4,000 plus video lessons for you guys, okay? I have DVD guides. I don't make these for fun. And in fact, my best-selling guide, How to Make Millions, I don't make any money on. I spent nearly a year making this thing. It all goes to charity, and it's raised nearly $2 million. I think actually we might have just passed $2 million now. All for charity, which is awesome. So I love teaching. I love giving back. And more importantly, I want to prepare you. So please be careful out there. If you're shorting NVCN, if you're going long, cut losses quickly. If the stock starts getting away from you too much, just cut losses, and trading isn't scary. And those of you who did profit, the dozens of you that I mentioned, congratulations, and keep taking the meat of the move on these volatile penny stocks. The whole world can hate on penny stocks. The whole world can hate on me. I don't give a shit. We're going to see more and more of these plays over and over again. I'm going to continue cataloging them the best I can. I'm going to continue trading them the best I can. I'm going to continue commenting on them the best I can. Video lessons, watch list, commentary, it never ends. And what I found that works best for my students is longevity. If you stick around for 6, 9, 12, 15, 20 months, it's really difficult not to learn everything, okay? But the problem is many students give up 2 months in, 3 months in, 4 months in. They say, oh, I don't get it. I'm not having consistency. I must remind you that Tim Grittani, arguably the best trader of the past 5 years, who's taken $1,500 of his own money, and now he's at $3.4 million. He's my top student. He was not consistently profitable for the first 9 months. And I have several more students who were losing, not much, but losing a little in their first few months. It takes time to get used to trading these volatile stocks. It takes time to learn everything that's counterintuitive, As I was saying to my students today, it's weird. Like you want to work as hard as you can trading, but sometimes when you work so hard and you're trading so hard, you lose track of what really matters and you don't look at the pattern correctly and you don't trade correctly. It's important to take some time off and clear your head every now and then. This is why I don't really like trading midday. This is why I missed NVCN's breakout midday today. I don't like that. I don't like missing trades, but at the same time, I have to respect my rules. And my rules save me from shorting the morning spike. So my rules giveth and it taketh. But overall, in the long run, it giveth more than it taketh. And that is why I have the most successful students. If you don't want to learn, I'm not going to force you. If you don't want to watch the guides, I can't make you. All I can try and do is share with you hundreds and hundreds of my students who are profiting. Nothing huge, but a few $100s, a few $1,000s a day, and that keeps the real job away. And more importantly, it helps grow your accounts and builds your confidence. Because if you're making or losing a few $100s or a few $1,000s, guess what? It's not going to change your life in any meaningful way. The only way that this changes your life is if you really stick with it and make hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars like several of my top students now have done in just a few years. But it takes time, it takes dedication, it takes perseverance. Some days you make some money, some days you're going to lose some money. Some days if you learn to cut losses quickly, it's a good loss. I know you don't want to hear it. I know no one wants to take losses ever, but that's not realistic. So I need to try and get you learning in a realistic way. And as many people say, oh, it's impossible to turn a few thousand into a few million. Well, guess what? Several of my top students and I have now done that. If it was just me, okay, you might have a point. But now it's not just me. And more students are getting close to $1 million. Mark Crook, who was dead on today, shorting and saying to watch out about buying NVCN. I think he gave an alert in the challenge chat room where was it at? I think it was like in the low threes. And he said, watch for a blow off top. He was dead on. I don't know if he shorted or not, but he has now made over $600,000 and he's on his way to becoming my next millionaire student. So it takes time. You got to grow your knowledge account first. You got to get experience with these patterns. You have to learn what to do, what not to do, how to manage risk, how to trade small, how to cut losses quickly, how to take the meat of the move. And then once you have enough skill and enough knowledge, you can really get pretty wealthy very quickly. And that's cool, but it's going to take a lot of hard work. So that's my spiel for today. Be prepared for tomorrow. Be in the chat room early. We're going to have a crazy day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.